Am I live? I think I am live. Hi guys, welcome to episode 37 of Security Dog Handler Q&A/talk. You actually joined me. I was hoping this was going to be finished just before, but the England under-21s are planning the under-21 Euro final, and Spain have just got a penalty in the 98th minute, which is annoying. But yeah, so we'll go on with this stream, obviously, whilst I keep an eye on that a little bit. But yeah, welcome to episode 37 of the Security Dog Handler Q&A/talk. This is at the end of my week. So I've done a live last weekend, which was kind of like the start of my week off. And this is a live at the end. Obviously, I've had my week off now and it's been pretty good. The weather has sort of turned really muggy and horrible. I mean, it's all right out there, but it's just no winds. There's no air for the dogs. I mean, he's just going to take the penalty. Saved it! Missed it! Get in! He's done it. Sorry. He's only saved it. So yeah, this is obviously the end of my week now. I'll be picking up the fiance from the airport later on. And yeah, I just thought I'd do another live just to maybe go through a few things. I've got some things that maybe I want to talk about. I can't believe he saved that penalty. But yeah, I just thought we'll go through it. And obviously, as ever, in the chat box, if you've got any questions or is there anything you want to talk about, then obviously put it down in the chat box. Hopefully through this, it won't just be me that's in here that'll be able to give answers. There'll be some other people that can give answers as well. So yeah, how is everyone doing on this Saturday evening? Hopefully, don't tell me he's going to make him retake it. Hopefully, you've all had a good week. Like I say, the weather's been strange, hasn't it? It's been reasonably warm, and then I think like Wednesday, Thursday, I remember getting up and it was like 30 degrees. It was so hot. And then obviously like these last couple of days, and it's just been like really muggy for the dogs where there's just been no air. So yeah, I hope you've had a good week. Hope you've been looking after the dogs, or I hope you've been having a good week at work, etc. And these two are going to start. Behave. So yeah, has anyone got anything they want to talk about? I can start off with some things that I was going to talk about. So one of the first things, so a lot of you guys will obviously know in my van, I carry a first aid. And the other day when I was at training, Terry said to me about something that's good to have. And I kind of agreed with it. And it's something that I got myself. And that's why I'm going to say you're on a site and it's a rather large site, etc. And something happens to you, the dog, or something happens with someone on site, and you are quite away from your van, you're quite away from the first aid pack. Something that Terry advised on getting was one of these kind of like pocket first aid kits. So something that you can carry on you that's obviously quite lightweight, etc. Something that you can throw to someone, because at the end of the day, if you have an instance with a person, you obviously have to, you're liable for their sort of safety. So what you want to do is be able to let them treat themselves. Obviously, with you've got the dog, so it's not going to be safe for you to go that close to that person with the dog, because the dog is going to be like up here in terms of like being switched on to any kind of movement from that person, etc. And Terry said to get yourself like a little pocket first aid. So this would be something that I would have on me, and I can just throw it to them. Or even if I'm at the van and I don't want to give this one out, or I don't want to do whatever, I can just throw them this pocket one. And this pocket one's going to have like plasters, bandages, stuff that they're going to be able to treat themselves with. Now, there was a couple of things that I did take out of here that due to, if I want to throw it to someone, considering maybe the circumstances, etc., that we've done it, the two things that I've taken out of here have been scissors and tweezers. Now, that to me, that seems like a logical explanation. I think that obviously this is a first aid just until the ambulance gets there or whatever it is. But if I've had an incident with someone where it has gone to the point where the dog's had a live bite, I don't want to be throwing someone something with some scissors or some tweezers in it. So yeah, I've got one of these pocket first aid kits. I think you can pick them up a lot cheaper. The reason that I think I paid like 16 quid for this, which is probably way over what I probably should have paid. But I was actually just in a shop And it's quite interesting because I think that some of the stuff that I've managed to pick up for security dog handling has been from this shop, and I think it's like Snow and Rock it's called, and it's kind of like skiing, mountaineering, that sort of stuff, and like camping. Now, 16 quid is probably way more expensive than I probably needed to pay for something like this. But I was in the shop, it was there, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to get it because if I go home and I go, oh, I'll get that off Amazon or whatever it is, I would have ended up not doing it for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. So as I was there in the shop and it was there, I got that. And like I say, that's just something good to have because it might not even be a person. It might even be you or the dog where you need to maybe just do a bit of first aid until you can get back to the van where you've got like your bigger first aid pack. And like I say, this has got quite a lot in it in terms of like bandages, tape, some antibacterial wipes and that to obviously try and clean some stuff up, etc. And like I say, I think that's something that Terry pointed out the other day, which I thought was quite a nice little tip. That if you are a security dog handler and your site is quite big and you're going to be some distance away from your van, having something like this where if something happens 200-300 meters away from your van, that you'll be able to do some treatment there and then. And obviously, if it is a person, if once they're in your care, you obviously need to look out for them. So if you can throw them something like this and either advise them how to do the first aid or whatever it is so that they can treat themselves, I think that is good. But obviously, like I said, I took the scissors and the tweezers out of there because if it's got to the point where I've had a live bite with a dog, etc., I don't want to be throwing someone something with potential weapons in it. So yeah, that was something. But I think that is a good point. It's like the camping shop that I've gone to. I've got like I've got like knife and fork for work, which is like camping knives and forks. I've obviously got this first aid. I actually picked up some of these carabiners as well, and I'm not sure why I got them, but I got some of these carabiners as well. I think you can get I've got like 3 of these. Just picked little things like this up because you never know when it comes to being a security dog handler where there might be something that you need to just clip onto your vest or you want to clip onto. Most work trousers have got like little loops that you can clip a carabiner onto. So I picked up like 3 of these carabiners as well. So yeah, I thought it was just interesting. And like I say, when it comes to security dog handling, some places like these, what? Let out. That's your mother's dress. Git. Give me 1 sec. Oi. It's your mother's dress. Git. Git. Apologies, the puppy just nicked some clothing. Going to things like camping shops because at the end of the day, I've really found it quite interesting going to these camping shops because at the end of the day, really, we are camping when we are working. Like we're obviously living out of a van the same way that people would live out of a tent or whatever it is when they're camping, etc. So actually, some of the stuff that's in there, you can get really good things. And like I say, I've found some good stuff like knives and forks. Maybe plates, like they obviously do like camping plates, camping cups, different things like that. And if you ever go past the camping shop, always just pop in there and just see what they've got going about. Because like I say, I obviously saw this. I saw the carabiners, and I think the carabiners were like 4 quid. And I just thought, you know what, I'll pick them up because it may come to a point where I might need something like a carabiner to be able to clip onto myself or whatever it is. Because at the end of the day as well, if I wanted to, I'll probably do it with I'll probably do it like the mid-size one, is that I will be able to, hold on 1 sec. So obviously I can just carabiner that onto there, and then I could just carabiner that onto my vest or whatever it is, and I could probably just put it on me as I go out to go and do patrols. Don't need it when I'm in the van, but I could just carabiner that to my vest or whatever it is. So I think having some carabiners and like these little things just hanging around the van, I think one day you'll go, oh, I could actually use that for that, or different things like that. Like I could probably hang my van bin up. So I've got a little bin that I have in my van, so they would come in handy. Maybe trying to hang that up as well. Something else that I came across, I think I paid about 8 quid. Again, I'm not saying that these are the cheapest. You could probably get them a lot cheaper, but in terms of just being in a random place, and I thought, you know what, that actually looks like quite a good idea. Is I actually picked up one of these Rolson multi-tools. Now, I'll give you 3 guesses to where you think I picked it up. No, it's not there. No, it wasn't there either. I actually got this from Sainsbury's. So I was actually just doing a food shop with the missus, and for some reason we ended up in some section where this multi-tool was. And again, I just looked at it and I thought, you know what, I could do with a multi-tool like that. That's really foldable. Obviously, I keep this in my vest because you never know when you're going to be going out on a patrol and maybe you need to cut something, maybe you need to do whatever, maybe you need to screw something. So just getting like one of these little multi-tools. Like I say, I think I paid about £8 in like Sainsbury's for it. In there, you've got like a knife that's actually really sharp. So I've got like a knife. You've got a Phillips head screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, beer bottle opener. Not really going to need beer bottle openers, hopefully, when you're working. On that side, and then I think on this other side, you've got more of a serrated edged sort of knife, nail file, this little knife, and I'm not sure what this. So this one here, I'll put it a bit closer to the camera. Where's the camera gone? So I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's kind of like a flathead looking kind of part of the multi-tool. But yeah, having like something like a multi-tool like this, like I say, I was at Sainsbury's when I picked it up. I just thought it'd be a good idea. It's really nice. It's really compact compared to some other stuff that you can get. And like I say, that just sits in my vest all the time. So if I ever am just out and I don't know, something needs cutting, obviously I've got the multi-tool for that. Like I say, it's got a Phillips and a flathead screwdriver on there as well. So this is also going to be useful for that. And I think if you speak to Aaron at UK Security 101, he always says about having a multi-tool on him. But having a multi-tool that you can just put in your vest and have with you, again, a bit like the pocket first aid thing, something that you can be 200-300 yards away from your van and something needs to happen, you can just you've got it on you already. So yeah, that's something else that I've picked up lately that I found to be pretty good. But yeah, like they're just some of the things. I think there's some things that you need to maybe think about, especially. I think the first aid thing is a very good tip, is that having one that you can throw to someone that hasn't got any scissors or any tweezers and that. And it's just something that they can throw so they can obviously like put some pressure. There's obviously got antibacterial wipes in there. But saying you can throw someone and let them do it, because like I say, if you're 300 yards away from your van and you've got the dog, you can't really administer first aid unless you tie the dog up. Now, if the dog's ended up having to have a live bite, that's probably because that person can't be trusted. So don't tie your dog up and start administering first aid to someone, because you could start administering first aid with the dog tied up. They could clump you. Someone else that you didn't know was on site, they could clump you, and all of a sudden you've got 2 people or a person to fight off, and your dog's tied up and no use to you. So having something like that where you can just fight to someone and they can give themselves some first aid or whatever is really good, and I think that's a really good tip. And then obviously, like I say, camping shops. For what we do as a job, it's more or less camping. Like we go and we just camp out in a site. Obviously, we get out patrol, different things like that. But in terms of the way in which we live for them sort of 12 hours, it's very close to camping. So if you go there, you can pick up some decent stuff. And like I say, like knives and forks, like camping knives and forks, camping plates, camping mugs. There's going to be like a camping kettle, whatever it is. They're a good place to. There's going to be a good place to maybe pick up some of that stuff. So, but yeah, that's just some of the stuff that I've bought recently. I feel like they've been some decent buys. Like I say, I'm one of them people that I need to buy it there and then, which is why I probably paid more than maybe I should have for like the pocket first aid kit. But I am one of them people. If I say I'll go on Amazon and I'll buy one of them later, I end up not doing it. So, like I say, I probably paid a little bit more than probably I needed to. But yeah, I think there's some decent buys and something that's going to benefit me in the long run. Hopefully, I don't have to use that pocket first aid kit. But if I do ever have to do it, then I've got one there. So, but yeah, how is everyone doing? If you've got anything that you want to talk about, obviously just put it in the chat. We have had an interesting week off. One night I went to the pub with my mate. and had a few beers. And I actually went to bed and left the balcony door open. So my flat was open to anyone that wanted to jump over the balcony and walk in. Thankfully, no one did. But I think the dogs were, I think Cooper was patrolling the balcony as well. But yeah, like one night I managed to go to sleep, and I didn't realise till like the next day when I got up, and I thought I got broken. I literally walked in, and the door was open. I thought, have I been broken into? Then looked, laptop was there and all the other stuff was there. And I was like, that's strange, because I remember locking that door last night. And then I went to push the handle down to close the door, and it was locked. So actually what I'd done through having too many beers was I managed to lock the door, but not actually close it. So, but that was maybe, that's lucky on both sides, really, because obviously, if someone had jumped in and tried to break in, then obviously the dog would have been there to deal with that. But then obviously I've kind of left it open, or if they run out and the dog went out over the balcony, or the dog confronted them on the balcony. Because in terms of Dangerous Dogs Act, I'm pretty sure it's Dangerous Dogs Act. So when it comes to having your dog at your home, now, if someone breaks into your back garden, into your shed, etc., that is not known as private property. And a lot of people will say, well, it is. But in terms of like the Guard Dogs Act, your shed is not actually known as your private property. So you can't use your dog to defend your shed. The reason that they done this was for people like postmen, people like the emergency services, etc., where they need to gain entrance into your property, let's say your garden, etc. They need to be able to do that without the fear of being attacked by a dog. So the balcony, although it's not my garden, it is sort of part of my building. That would have been, I think, a little bit of a sticky area had someone jumped onto my balcony, seeing that my balcony door was open at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it is. It might have been a sticky situation to, if they'd been confronted by the dog and they decided not to jump back over, what would have happened? Why are you crying? So yeah, I think that was more lucky on my part. Obviously, lucky that someone didn't break in and nick laptop or some of the stuff that we've got in here. But then obviously it might have been lucky on my side as well that someone didn't jump onto the balcony and get confronted by the dog, because I think I might have been in a little bit of a sticky situation in terms of that. But like I say, luckily we got away with that. But other than that, this week's been pretty good. I kind of stuck most of the time. I've kind of stuck to getting up, getting the dogs out before obviously it got too hot, because obviously we all know that once the temperature gets above a certain degree, that obviously it becomes dangerous for dogs to do too much activity. So I've been trying to get them out early when it's still cool, and then sort of middle to afternoon when it's at its warmest. We're in the flat. My flat stays pretty cool throughout when it's warm. So actually, my flat has been one of the coolest places for the dogs to be. So get them out early, and then obviously get them back in the flat where it's cool for like the hottest part of the day. And then in the evenings, then we'll go out and we'll go on some walks, etc., different things like that. I've done pretty well sticking to that. Let me just open the balcony door for the dog. But yeah, other than that, like I say, it's been a pretty uneventful week. I did hurt my shoulder, etc. Some news that came out, which I wanted to take sort of maybe 5-10 minutes just to chat about. So there was some news that come out in sort of the last week or so, that the founder of Prestige Guarding, who I work for, sadly passed away after a short battle with illness. It's very sad. Like Jeff was the founder of Prestige Guarding, and made Prestige Guarding what it is. I know that there's probably people around the industry that have mixed views on him. I think that if you work in this industry for long enough, you're never going to get on with everyone, especially if you're an employer. But I would say that Jeff has been one of the people that have made me. What's the right way to say it? So Jeff has made me want to be as professional as I am in my job. So whether you guys agree or not, is that I always turn up, I always look clean, I always look presentable, and I always try and do the job at the best sort of professional level that I can. And that a lot of that did come from Jeff, the way in which he kind of dressed to come to work every day, the way in which he sort of held himself whilst he was obviously working at Prestige Garden. And for those of you that didn't know Jeff, he was one of the nicest guys. I think, like I say, you're never going to get on with everyone, especially if you are an employer. You will upset different handlers over different kinds of things, or you might upset other companies through different things that you do as a company in this industry. But he was one of the nicest people that I got to meet. He gave me all the info when I started wanting to get into this. He was one of the first ones that gave me all the info about how to do it. He backed me 100%. He was the one that said to me, "Look, if you as soon as you get through your training, there's going to be a job here for you." So yeah, like I say, Jeff obviously sadly passed in the last sort of week or so, and it's obviously been tough for obviously his family. Prestige Garden is a family-run business, so it's obviously been very tough on the family, and obviously my boss really now is Lewis, and I think it's hit hard. And I think one of the things that I've always taken from Jeff is to always be presentable, always be willing to help others. And when I say about Jeff willing to help others, now the moment I started doing this job, and obviously I'd done like YouTube and different things like that, he never put any restrictions on what I could do. He never told me that I couldn't do it. He always backed me doing my YouTube and different things like that. And I think that can be that can be a ballsy step, because of what I do has not really been done. It could have gone down one of two ways, and Prestige Gardening could have been put in a bad light or good light. I think that it's made Prestige Gardening in a good light, but it's quite a ballsy move for him, because you're putting a lot of trust in one person to represent your company on not a global, like on a larger scale. I know lots of groups on Facebook and different things like that, but when you've got someone working for your company that is doing what I do, I think for Jeff just to support what I did is what I say about him being the nicest bloke and always supporting me from the moment I decided that I wanted to do it. And I think Jeff is going to be sadly missed. I will obviously miss him personally. And I think that Prestige Gardening has been left in safe hands. I think that the family unit that they had that was running Prestige Gardening, I think Prestige Gardening's been left in sort of safe hands. And like I say, the one thing I just wanted to obviously just put out there, that obviously that Jeff had sadly passed, but the reason not the person that I am is more because of Jeff. Like I say, he was always the best dressed in the office. He was always the nicest bloke. He always supported me from the moment I said I wanted to do this all the way through to giving me a job straight away as soon as I passed. Supported me doing my YouTube. Like I said, he could have said day one, "You're not doing this, just in case you do something wrong, or just in case something happens. I don't want Prestige Gardening's name to be attached to something that you do." But he never done that. He always said, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel is right to do, then we'll back that. And if something happens, then we'll sort it out, or we will discuss about how we move forward with it. But he never put any stipulation on what I can and can't do. And like I say, whenever I've put through videos, there's been certain videos that I've done that I've sent to Lewis and Jeff, and I've said, "Look, am I okay to do this video?" Especially when I was using Prestige Gardening's name. And they always just said straight away, "Yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it." So yeah, I wanted just to take maybe like 5 minutes just to sort of pass that news and explain why Jeff is a big part of obviously me as a security dog handler. And like I say, he's going to be sadly missed. Prestige Gardening's been left in good hands because of the way in which he has organised the company and has sort of structured it. It's going to be a miss, but I think that he's always going to be part of Prestige Gardening, and he's always going to be a part of the way in which I do my work, because in terms of being a security dog handler, it's very easy for security dog handlers to get lazy. It's easy for security dog handlers to not turn up the best way they can in terms of their dress, etc. But I always felt, because Jeff turned up to the office and was always sort of the best dressed in the office, I always took that as, well, that's what I need to do. I always want to be the best dressed handler that what the client sees. So when it comes to, so that when I turn up, they think, okay, well, this guy knows what he's doing, because Jeff was always the best dressed and all that. I never questioned any of the decisions that he made. And yeah, I think that's what I just wanted to say, like 5-10 minutes, just talk about Jeff and just say, like, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Yes, there's going to be people that have had differences of opinions with him. But like I say, as an employer of lots of handlers over the years and been in the security industry for loads of years, you're never going to get on with everyone. And there's obviously things that happen in security dog handling where one side breaks down or the relationship breaks down. But in terms of me, he was really supportive when I wanted to start. As soon as I passed, he gave me a job, and then he always backed sort of me doing my YouTube and that, even though it was an unknown result of what could happen. So I'd say one bad thing for me, I was obviously going to be attached to Prestige Gardens' name. So like I say, he always trusted in me, and like I say, he'll be sadly missed. But yeah, I just wanted to have sort of 5 minutes to talk about Jeff. Ollie, what are you doing? So yeah, is there anything anyone else wants to talk about? We just lifted the trophy for the under-21s in the final. Yeah, is there anything that anyone wants to talk about? Just obviously put it down in the chat. Moving forwards with the channel, I'm just going to do some videos. I've got a week of day shifts coming up, so I'll get some chance to do some videos throughout that. Going to try and do some lives as and when. Like I think a lot of you know that it's obviously very difficult in security dog handling when you don't spend too much time with the missus, fiance, whatever it is. It's quite hard to then disappear and do lives and different things like that. And obviously, you want to try and make our time together count, so we don't get a lot of it. So I'll try and do some lives. Like I say, I've got a week where I can get some videos in. I'm going to get some a Patreon video done. What's up with you? Going to get a Patreon video done, ready for Patreon, and that'll be up around sort of the middle of the month, etc. And yeah, like I say, I do want to know from kind of you guys, what type of videos do you want to see? Do you want to see some more day-to-day and different things like that? One of the apps that's talking sort of day-to-day sort of stuff is a lot of you might have known that obviously Instagram have brought out this Threads app, which is, well, Threads as in THREADS. And it's kind of like the rival to Twitter. So it's kind of like Instagram's version of Twitter. And I've signed up to that. And actually what I want to, like, Twitter's such a toxic place, I've found, is that and maybe Threads will go down that sort of route. But what I'm going to do with Threads is I've signed up to it. Obviously, I've not been working this week, so I haven't done too much. But starting from sort of Monday going forwards, is that I'm going to, on that Threads, is that I might do some like days with me. So throughout my shifts, throughout my day, I'll just maybe do some, because they're like tweets basically. So you put like a front cover tweet or front cover thread, sorry, and say like, this is my day, and then under that I'll just put in some stuff that I'm doing throughout the day. So in terms of people getting to have a look at maybe what I do on a day-to-day basis, because obviously you get the videos and that, but they don't cover a lot of time. Like them videos might cover like, I don't know, 10 minutes in a or 15 minutes in a long 12-hour shift, etc. But that Threads, what I might want to do is just, oi, less of your lip. But what I want to do with maybe the Threads is just bring people along for the day. And like I say, it's going to be security dog handling based, but maybe just give a more of a look behind the scenes of like some of the stuff that we do in terms of like cleaning cleaning out the cage or different things like that, and just give people an idea of maybe actually what you do on the 12-hour shift. Obviously, it's not going to be sort of patrols and not going to be dealing with people, etc., different things like that, but giving people like a real look behind the scenes of what I do in sort of a 12-hour shift. And I think that'd be quite beneficial, especially to people that may be new to this or people that are wanting to get into it, getting an idea of actually what we do in sort of a 12-hour shift or what I do in a 12-hour shift. I think that might be quite beneficial. So if you want to go onto the Threads app, or THREADS, if you want to go on that app and follow me, I'm going to do that. Like I said, I've always had a Twitter, but I've never tweeted, or I just use Twitter to follow the fantasy football points or whatever it is. I've never really got too much into Twitter, but where Threads is kind of attached to sort of Instagram and that, I'm actually going to give it a go, see what happens. If it starts getting as toxic as Twitter does, then I'll probably just pull out of it, because I'm not all about being on somewhere where it's just going to be toxic stuff every time you sort of post. But I think that Instagram is slightly less toxic than maybe Twitter is. This dog is going, hey, Ollie, come here. Get it. Oh, sit here. All right. But yeah, like Twitter's a lot more toxic than I think Instagram. So hopefully that a lot of the people that are going to be on Threads is going to be the people that's on sort of Instagram and that. And I've never really had too much bad stuff happen with Instagram, etc. So yeah, if you want to go onto Threads and you want to follow me, like I say, I'm going to do a bit more like sort of behind the scenes of what I kind of get up to on a day-to-day basis as a security dog handler. So yeah, that's obviously something that's come out, and obviously I haven't been working this week, so I haven't done too much. But if it starts going all right, then maybe I'll do some time when I have time off. I'll give a more of a look at what we do as a security dog handler outside of work, because obviously a lot of people will understand that obviously security dog handling doesn't stop when your shift stops. You still obviously have to look after the dogs. You obviously still need to do stuff with the dogs, etc. The dogs don't just switch off, or the dogs don't need walking, or the dogs don't need some stimulation or training just because you're not at work. So I think that Threads is going to be a decent addition to kind of giving you guys a good behind the scenes look. And I might do some behind the scenes of what I do for videos and different things like that. Is it windy? Woo. So yeah, I think that's going to be something else that I'm going to do going forwards as well. Hopefully, some people will buy into it and that they'll learn some stuff. Why have I got one of your hairs in my mouth? But yeah, in terms of the dogs, Cooper's been been doing really well with his work. Ollie is yet to see a trainer. What I do want to do is maybe reasonably soon is. So the same way in which I went to Terry with Cooper, and he gave sort of Cooper an assessment, and he gave me his sort of assessment on Cooper and whether he was going to be able to do the job or not. I actually want to do that with Ollie, because Ollie's coming up to sort of 9 months now. I would like to maybe go and see someone where they can just do some little tests, nothing too much, because like I say, he's not done any training, etc., and except for maybe some of the stuff that I've done, and just give Ollie some like assessment just to see if he's got sort of like what their opinion on it is, because they will know what they're looking for, because these people will know what they're looking for in terms of the dog's temperament, whether in terms of they could probably watch a dog search and they'll know whether the dog's going to be any good or not. So yeah, I think that's maybe one of the next steps for Ollie, is that he goes and sees someone and gets some form of assessment where they can tell me, yeah, he has sort of the looks of what we're looking for, or they might turn around and say he's too scatty at the moment. What we need to do is we need to do this, and maybe just point me in the right direction of what we need to do with you. Is that what you want to do? Yeah, you want to find them drugs? Yeah. You want to find them drugs? But yeah, no, not you. But yeah, that's I think that's sort of the plan for moving forward. And obviously with Coop, he's just going to training. Going to be going training in a couple of weeks. I didn't make training this week, because of my shoulder. At the start of the week, I think I pulled a muscle in sort of my back sort of shoulder thing, so I didn't go training this week. So I'll be going training in a couple of weeks. Right, go on then, go down there. But yeah, like I say, I think I think from what I've seen with Ollie and sort of his sort of searching stuff is that he has the drive in order to do it. But because I've only really done article search, it's quite hard for me to put obviously things into sort of drugs, etc. To be able to focus that. I can get him to focus on a thing, but obviously it's not drugs. So from what I've seen with Ollie is that he's good with his nose and he has drive to do the sort of searching kind of stuff. So I do hold out a lot of hope for him, but obviously, like I say, I've not done this before, so what I say might not be correct. So, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, other than that, but yeah, like I say, if anyone's we're coming up 36 minutes. If anyone's got any questions, put them in the chat box. It's kind of covered everything that I wanted to in this video. Like I say, I didn't have a Saturday 9 o'clock video this week, so I wanted to just come on and do a live. But the main reason, it wasn't that I was being lazy or anything like that, but the main things that I was going to do a video on this week was going to be sort of this pocket first aid kit, this, and obviously I was going to talk about Jeff as well, and I've kind of covered that in this video. And it's, like I say, I think this video has been decent just for some little tips, and obviously for me just to have my say about Jeff. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, I'll give you another minute or so whilst I kind of wrap this up. But yeah, I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you are looking forward to the next sort of week or so. I think the weather might turn this week. I think there's a good chance that the weather might turn a little bit. My dogs are beginning to fight now because they're getting a bit bored. But yeah, I think the weather's going to turn a little bit this week. It's one of them things in the UK is that every time you get maybe a week of some decent weather, it's followed by thunderstorms and different things like that. So it's kind of been on the cards, I think, ever since we had that sort of nice week, etc. But yeah, other than that, hope you have a good evening. Make sure you maybe have something nice for dinner, etc. And yeah, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Hey, easy. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next live, which hopefully won't be too far away, but we'll see what happens. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below for loads more videos. Down there is my Patreon as well. If you want to help support what I do, there's my Patreon down there as well. Go over to Threads and you can follow me, and starting from Monday, I'm going to give a more behind the scenes kind of look at what I do on sort of a 12-hour shift. Obviously not the patrolling side and different things like that, but the time in between all that sort of stuff that is actually kind of part of the job. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers for watching. See you later.